Hi everyone, so today I'm talking about the REST API. So an API is an application programming interface. Say you're at the computer or using your phone on a web app that's connected to an API. So you're on your app, you'd make a request, and then that request will go to the API. The API then connects to the web server, which connects to the database. Database retrieves that whatever information or task you wanted based on the API request, and then puts that information back through to the REST API, which takes it to your phone or computer or whatever you're using. I like to think of a API as a waiter at a restaurant. So you would be the customer, and so you make your request to the waiter. The waiter takes that request to the restaurant or to the kitchen. The kitchen prepares your food, gives it to the waiter, and then the waiter takes it back to the table. So the API is really like the middleman between the server/database and the app or client. APIs rely on requests, and there are 4 different HTTP methods for the API requests: post, get, put, and delete. So post creates, get reads, put updates, and delete deletes. The other part of an API request is the endpoint. So the endpoint is the address to the specific part of the API. So that's what retrieves the data. So here's the example. If you're using a weather API, you might have an endpoint like this. So this is the URL, and then the forecast, the /forecast, is the endpoint. And or if you're trying to request a list of users, you would use the get HTTP method, and then whatever the URL is, and then users. And then you can even get more specific and request a specific ID. So just to refresh, here's how you make an API request. Use the curl command, and then one of the HTTP methods, the URL, and then the endpoint at the end. And then so every API, so once you make an API request, the second part is the response, which is usually in JSON, but REST APIs can respond with multiple different JSON, etc. So here you have the curl request at the top with the appropriate endpoint, and then the response body is the response. So we see here that it's using a get method. And then once you get your response, so you would receive your response as either what you're reading, or if you created something, you'll get that response, and then you'll also get the HTTP status codes. And here's a list of those, but you'll mostly see 200 numbers, 400, or 500 numbers, which is, yeah, server error, client error, or you have a successful one. There are a lot of advantages of a REST API. They're very simple, and once you understand the framework, it's easy to duplicate them or keep working on them. They can handle large number of users and requests. They're very flexible. Like I said before, they can respond with JSON, BSON, and XML. They're stateless, so that means you don't need to like make a request based on prior requests. And they've become very much a standard, so it's just good thing to know, good practice to have. And they're very secure. Here are some examples of applications that use a REST API: Twitter, GitHub, Google Maps, Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, weather app. So yeah, just to recap, a REST API is a very simple and effective way to build a web service that allows communication and data exchange between different systems over the